Today is Zack Martin Day, as they will celebrate the future Hall of Famer. And Jerry Jones explaining why he didn't talk at the Combine. What will Jerry's explanation be, Bobby?
Busy. We had a lot of meetings, a lot of stuff going on.
So every other year of your existence, you're not busy.
You saw, we got the OSA deal done. You know, we were working on a lot of different things. I didn't get there till later. There's just a lot more to fit in and a lot less time.
Don't tell me what I'm saying.
Will he have a little backhanded comment towards the media of, you guys want me to work? You guys want us to actually buckle down?
No, I don't think so. I think he'll just say, like, it's a busy time. I'm energized.
He'll try to float something exciting in the air?
No, I think what he'll do is he'll just talk about, I'm sure we'll get some reference to, I feel 15 years younger. So this new staff's got me so just youthful and energetic, and I just felt like I had to put all that energy into, there was all this work we had to do, and I was able to do twice as much as I normally do because I'm so excited about this.
Match the energy of the new staff. RJ Choppy, Cowboy offseason, overreactions or not?
Overreaction or not, number one, this is the most important draft of the Dak Prescott era, or era, if you prefer.
Overreaction. Or the sense of every year, like it's one of those things where every year is going to be more important than the last one. That will always keep leveling up and moving forward. Every year they're further away from a title. So it's when they're 12-5 and they're close, you feel like that's an important draft because, gosh, this is like the one that might be able to push you over the edge if you hit it right. If you're in the position you are now, it's like, well, this is the most important one because it can. You're talking about trying to salvage things, and so. No, I think it's the same pressure and intensity that it always is, which is they are always going to lean on the draft to repopulate their roster.
So make the case that it would be.
Well, I do think the roster is not as good as it has been, and time is of the essence with Dak.
That's where I was going.
He's got...
Because if they go 7-10, then are they willing? Now, you can't get out of the contract, according to Bobby, for a couple years, but... Does that, in your mind, say, all right, this is the beginning of the end. We have to get our next quarterback ready?
I think you have to plan. Like, if you're the Cowboys, regardless of whether this is true or not, to me, I think you have to plan that you have Dak Prescott for this year and next year, and then you have... Because do we all agree he's in some form of a decline?
No. I mean, I don't... Is his body, maybe...
That's part of it.
That's what I don't know yet. Yeah. We'll know this. If he gets hurt again this year, we're talking about, all right, he's injury prone. But did he play well last year in 9 games? No. But the team was bad.
Right.
And so I also look at it and I go, he played his best ball arguably of his career before that 9-game stretch we just saw. So I don't think you can definitively say he's in decline. It's a question that you're asking, but I don't think you can say, yes, he's declining.
Definitely not going up.
Let me rephrase it this way. The Cowboys
didn't in 9 games anyway.
What?
He didn't in 9 games anyway, because he just gone up the year before. So I'm saying in 9 games he didn't, yes. But also I think it's a context question of what was last year. And that this year will tell us if that continues to go, okay, you're in decline.
Yeah, how about this? Anything they get, maybe they look at it like anything they get from him after this year or next year, after the next 2 years, is a bonus. Or is that still too low?
Well, if I had to pick between buying and selling, I mean, I'm selling and I'm picking that he's declining. But we shall see. It's a tricky question. Is this the most important draft of the Dak? I'll say it's an overreaction, but I get it because it's not make or break because they can't get out of the deal. How would you answer it?
I think it probably. I think the 2020 draft is about the same as this. They were coming off a non-playoff year, right in 2019, Garrett's last year. They needed CD. They needed that. But I think this one or that one would have been the number one. All right, next one. Overreaction or not, they are closer to the worst team in the NFL than the best.
Not an overreaction. And that's not that they're close to the worst team in the NFL, but if you want to just talk about, is the gap, like who are we saying consensus right now is the best team in the NFL? Is there a consensus team? Or are we just saying it's something of the Lions, Eagles, Chiefs, something like
collection?
Yeah, they are further from that than they are the Titans. The draft order says they're further than that from the Titans this year.
Right.
And I think that's closer to who they are.
What do you think?
I think he's right. I just, if you were to put them on the same field as Tennessee, I think they'd win the game, obviously. But does any of us think that they would go to Detroit or go to Buffalo and remotely have a chance to win that game?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Tennessee plays Dallas closer than Dallas probably plays Detroit right now. But they can also change that if they go out and make certain acquisitions this offseason, they nail the draft. Well, then it can change in an instant. But as of right now, yeah.
Well, the draft order, doesn't that say they're closer to the best team because they're at 12?
No, I'm saying because you're talking about like the team that ends up finishing the year as the Super Bowl champion. Dallas isn't running through that. I don't count the play. I don't count the however many 14 teams in the playoffs. I don't count them as like, oh, they're all equal. Like there's clearly a bigger gap here if you're saying you're finishing in the back end. Dallas hasn't come close to picking 29, 30, 31, 32 without a trade in years.
Yeah, 12 says they're closer to the worst. Obviously, you don't have your quarterback, though. I'll say that it's an overreaction. They'll be over 500, so that means technically I'll answer with an RJ Choppy technicality.
Okay.
They're closer to the best.
Very good. Next one. Schotty is not as good of a coach as McCarthy, but a better fit for this team.
Not an overreaction. Nothing on paper tells you that you upgraded at head coach. And the league tells you didn't upgrade a head coach because no one went close to Brian Schottenheimer to lead their organization. But I do believe he could be a better fit. So not an overreaction.
It's an overreaction to say Schotty's not as good as Mike McCarthy. That's just a flat-out overreaction, RJ. It's not an overreaction to say that he's a better fit for this team. He absolutely is a better fit for this team. That 100% is the case. If you just want to talk about culture and...
You don't know that it's 100%. The players loved Mike.
No, but it is 100% set. Like, regardless of what ends up happening, the Mike McCarthy style was not what this team needs. Does it work out? Does it do with it? No. But like the absolute, like, hey, we need toughness and we need this and the things that Schottenheimer's willing to do, that is a better fit. Does it equal better results? Not necessarily. Do they like him more? Not necessarily. But that is more what they need right now. That is a better fit right now.
Yeah, I think. Look, I think Mike's. I love Mike. I think Mike's a fantastic coach. I think him and I am angry. I'm angered by the lack of good PR that he has. He needs a better PR person.
Blame Laura Oakman.
Yeah, he needs a better PR person.
And Tom Pelissero.
But
I think he's had a hell of a PR person that he hung around as long as he did.
And Jay Glazer. I mean, he's got a pretty nice PR team.
He does. But, the perception of him is that he's this bumbling boob and Sean Payton can't do no wrong. And they're the same guy. They have the same resume. But, Schotty dealt with the Jets. The Jets were a circus with Rex Ryan. A complete circus. And this is a circus. Mike doesn't want to deal. Mike's Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon. I'm too old for this S. And that's what he is. I think like at the end of the day, he's like, he probably wanted to stay as the head coach because he wanted the job to stay as the head coach. His family's here. But he doesn't need this crap, and he probably didn't love it. I don't think he loved being the coach of the Cowboys.
He can go take Jimmy's spot. He can go be the Fox. He can be the Fox studio guy. Make his jokes there. He'll have fun.
I think Mike loved being employed more than he loved being with the Cowboys.
Oh yeah, he definitely did not like being the Dallas Cowboy head coach. No way.
I don't think so. I think it is a better fit for this team. Next one, they should do what Sean suggested the other day and blow it up. Which is trade Micah for 2 1s and trade Dak for whatever, I guess a 1. If that's what you get for him. So now you would have 5 first-round draft picks over the next 2 years.
Well, obviously, I'm going to say it's not an overreaction. It was my possible.
Fair enough. There you go.
It was my possible idea. Look, the premise of what I said is just, it's a simple question. Do you think the Dallas Cowboys will win the Super Bowl in the next 3 years? My answer, and I feel pretty solid about it, is no. If you can convince me otherwise, it's an overreaction. If you believe that they're not going to come close to winning the championship the next 2 or 3 seasons, then the answer is to start over when you can, how you can. So it's not an overreaction.
It's not an overreaction because you have to think about it and you have to consider it. I don't think it's what they should do. I think they should stick 1 more year, see how does this draft go, because here's the thing. Do I think they're going to win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years? No. Do I think they have enough of a roster right now that I could see a piece or two coming in here, or a couple different pieces, and making it to where they could do some fluky run and maybe get, that's within their talent level. So I don't know that blow up is what they have to do yet, but it's at least a question right now. And depending on if you get another draft class like the one where Tyler Guyton's your top pick or Mozzie Smith is your top pick, well then, you've probably been set back even more, and now you just need to find out a way to get around it.
The overreaction is the possibility of doing it because you can't get out of the Dak deal.
Right. I mean, look, they theoretically just take all your lumps, like trade them both, take your lumps, reset the team, get your 5 first-round picks over 2 years, and shoot, man, trade down from some of those if you can, and pick up more.
Now, you can get out of the Dak deal if you are just comfortable with, we are going to lose for 3 straight years because we're not going to have money to sign people. Like, no money. You can get out of it in that sense. If you want to...
didn't Denver just make the playoffs with that?
They didn't have that type of money on it.
$50 million.
And we're talking about Dallas has had so many restructures and like push aheads. If they were to blow that up, it would just be they're having veteran minimum players on their roster for 3 years. So it's not, you're going to be picking in the top 5. Maybe you want that. You're going to be picking in the top 5 for 3 years probably.
Ooh, I would do it. Next one, overreaction or not, they are better off trading down and not getting fair value for the pick than they are at sticking at 12 because they have just too many holes. So, like, if the value chart says you should get a 3 and they are only able to get a 4 and they're trading down, a handful of spots, it's still better to do that and get the extra 4th than to pick at 12.
Depends.
And maybe go to 16 or whatever.
Depends how big the dip is from 10 to 12, 12 to 14. Like, do you have a blue chipper there that you think can fall to you or does fall to you?
Yeah, give me a scenario specifically. Like, say 12 to what, and you pick
16,
up
17.
Okay, 12 to 17 and you pick up a 4th.
Yeah, but maybe the chart says you should pick up a 3rd.
I'd probably do that. So not an overreaction. Now, if you're telling me it's like the drop when they went from 16 to 31 and got 1/3 and then they picked Travis Frederick, no, I'm not dropping 15 spots in this draft for 1 pick.
How many first rounders do you currently have?
14. And so, I mean, you're right on the edge. And some of those are positions you may not want to pick. But I mean, it's
now 14 first rounders, but you have 0 quarterbacks as first rounders?
None.
So there's really 16. So there's really 16 first rounders because those quarterbacks are going to get taken in the first round.
There is no guarantee. I don't know about right now if Shador's going in the first. Cam Ward is, but there are enough questions about that. And actually, technically, I have 13 because I have Travis Hunter graded as a first-rounder at receiver and corner.
I'm probably sticking in there. I'm not going to go crazy if they did that. I'm probably sticking in there and adding the best player because I view 4th and 5th round picks as total complete wild cards. They're all wild cards.
Oh, they are. Yep, they are.
It'd be nice if you had a couple for us and we wouldn't need to add a 3rd.
What do you mean?
We wouldn't need to be having this discussion.
I forgot to mention 2 of my first-round graded players are Michigan players, and so nobody's going to want to pick them.
So that's actually 10.
Yeah, Cowboys fans will freak out, so we can't even consider
10.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
If you made a poll and you said you either take a Michigan player at 12 or you trade the first for...
trade out of the first.
You trade out of the first? Cowboy fans would trade out because of the Michigan stain. For real.
I think you're right. I'd probably trade down. It's I don't have a great take on it because
it's more darts.
It's just more darts. You need more darts. Final one.
Holes and darts.
Yep. Final one. Overreaction or not? The Cowboys will err on the side of splash when it comes to their first round pick this year.
Overreaction.
And by the way, splash would mean Genty, Tet McMillan,
trading
up.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
a quarterback.
We don't know who it is yet. I just have a feeling it's probably gonna be somebody in the trenches. I think Tetairoa McMillan, for the receiver from Arizona, is 100% a guy that could be part of the discussion. Genty would be part of the discussion. I really feel like what's gonna win out is them going, man, we like this offensive lineman here, or we like this defensive end, and it's not necessarily going to be this huge splashy name, but it's something they think that's a good player that helps us with our toughness and what we're trying to do.
Overreaction. History has shown that they're fine being boring with Tyler, Mozzie, Taco, and I'm fine if they're boring. Like, if they come out of this with like 2 offensive linemen, 2 defensive linemen, and you're like, we're just making this a Matt Rule one-dimensional type draft based upon physicality and toughness, I'd be fine and happy with that. It's not fun in the moment when you're doing the draft coverage. At least for me, you want the splash,
right?
But no, not an overreaction.
Yeah, like I mean, it could be someone. If Mason Graham, the Michigan defensive tackle, falls to them, I would just see them going like, oh, that's perfect guy for what we're trying to do with our defensive front. Or if they go, you know what, really like Michael Williams from Georgia, who's a good player and definitely has some exciting highlights, but it's not Genty bouncing off of defenders and running 60 yards. It's not Tetero McMillan taking a screen and running 80 yards. That's not the kind of players they are.